EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. We are a week away from training camp, 8 days away from the Eagles taking the field, and we got a Tuesday edition of Birds 365 here, another 2 hours of power as we prep for the 2025 season. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Tuesday morning, brother?
Doing well. Limping to the off-season finish line, but thanks to Jeremy Fowler for getting us there. As predicted, the forest was set on fire yesterday. Disrespect season is going out like a lion. Disrespect, Zander.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. Whatever. I mean, I should have known.
And by the way, it's not Jeremy. He's just
no, it's not. Yeah. I'm not mad about Jeremy at all. But yeah, he's just the guy that put it out there. So he got
the timing of it was perfect.
And now, John, every sports show in the country is talking about the disrespect of
disrespect.
How disrespectful is it in your eyes, John? I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are like, this is egregious. It's it's not where I would rank them at all.
It's not where I would rank them either. But I like I said, there's one guy ahead of them that I'm pretty concrete on, and that's Jared Goff. He should be ahead of Jared Goff. And then I think he should be ahead of Matthew Stafford. You can certainly make arguments that he could be ahead of Justin Herbert, could be ahead of Jaden Daniels because Jaden's only done it for 1 year. So you can make all those arguments. The top four is as concrete as it's ever been in the NFL that I can remember. And again, from my perspective, like the disrespect talk, I find that silly. And, maybe that's because I know how well respected Jalen Hurts is inside sort of the football industry. Like nobody disrespects the guy. Everybody loves the guy. It's the exact opposite. So, that I tend to just tune out right away. Because I firmly don't believe it. And then, like I said, I said yesterday on the show, and I think this is important, and I'll continue to say it. I think when it comes, because, Jeremy's polling coaches, executives, and scouts. And I always say, I trust the scouts more when it comes to personnel because they have less political, stuff. And not that they're right, but I just trust them more, especially. And then you develop, I talked about 8 or 10 guys, as I mentioned yesterday. And you develop a trust in them because they give you good information. They're generally right. And so that's, inside baseball. That's how I do it. But, coaches and execs, they have more political footballs they got to deal with. And the part of executives specifically, and to a certain degree, coaches as well, but executives even more so. Those guys, again, very few people want to play the way the Eagles play in the NFL right now. And I'm talking about system, scheme, that type of thing. They don't want to be run first. They don't want to throw the football 360 times. They don't think that's the best way to win. Just because the Eagles were able to be an outlier and zig when everybody zagged and got it done. We talk about that margin of error all the time. They don't want to play that way. So their thought process is skewed towards win from the pocket first, and then the off-schedule stuff is sort of the
secondary.
Yeah, frosting on the cake, so to speak. And that's why I've never seen a more concrete top four in my life and around the NFL. You always have debates. Should this guy be there? It's like everybody's got the same four names. And then there's debate over who should be one amongst that group, who should be two, who should be that. There's debate with that. But it's like when we talk about the draft, how many blue chip players are? There's tier one, there's tier two. Right. That's tier one, and then it's up. And he's in the conversation to be number 5. And you can make a strong argument he should be number 5. Now, from my perspective, I don't think, ironically, because he won the Super Bowl, and that's where the evaluation breaks down. Like, it's not his best season. Like, you had a stronger argument to me coming off 2023 because he was asked to do more, and I think he did do more. And I think his play was greatly underestimated in 2023. And I'm not the only one. I know that because I was looking at PFF yesterday. They had him in 2022 when he's runner-up to MVP. Clearly, deservedly of that. It's not an honor, but deservedly of that position. He was ranked 4th of 39 quarterbacks in 2022, and that's by far his best season. In 2023, which the collapse and all that skews it, he was 8th of 38. He was damn good. In 2024, he was 12th of 42. And that, by the way, is aided because that's a postseason number. That's aided by the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. If you go back to just the regular season, he's 15th. Like, it not even close to being his best season. And by the way, he was 14th in his first year as a starter in 2021, which is still darn good for a first-year starter. Well above average. So to me, the whole thing is skewed. It's always been skewed, quarterback evaluation. By no means is it disrespectful. But I mean, if you win the Super Bowl, it's going to skew stuff. That's just the way.
Now, there's only one guy on that list that wasn't a first-round draft pick. When you interview scouts, GMs, these are guys that they do have egos, they do want to be right, and they did pass on the player in round 1. Do you think that has anything to do with the ranking where they just kind of – you remember how we talked about Jordan Mailata? And I know it's a little bit of a different scenario, but no Pro Bowls for Jordan Mailata? Like, that's crazy, but it's the pedigree thing that's held him down. Maybe he got over that hump now. Do you think any of that exists with Jalen Hurts being a second-round pick and a guy who really wasn't supposed to be a franchise-altering quarterback?
No, certainly. I don't think anybody cares from that standpoint. Now, where that factors in, and you talk about Jordan Mailata, like, well, I just brought up PFF. Well, they graded Jordan Mailata as the best player in football. Yeah. That's real when it comes to contracts because you have money guys trying to take advantage of the situation.
I don't think it's real when it comes to PFF, but is it real when it comes to Jeremy Fowler polling scouts and GMs? That's my question.
No, I don't think at all, especially scouts. Like, I don't give a shit.
Well,
everybody's, first of all, they're not responsible. It's not like they go in and say, draft Jordan Mailata in the 7th round. That's Howie's decision. They give their evaluation of a particular player.
Yeah, but they don't like to be wrong.
Well,
nobody likes to be wrong.
Nobody likes to be wrong, but they have far less ego because they don't need it because they're not in a public facing position. Like, very few people know who the Eagles scouts are. Very few people. They don't have to worry about what Howie has to worry about. They don't have to worry about what Nick has to worry about. That factors in more with them. Scouts are like doing their job. You got guys pounding the table. The Eagles showed their unscripted, their passion meeting for the first time, is how he calls it, where the scouts get to speak up about day 3 players they like. And you heard guys talking just wonderful things about Kyle McCord and Miles Hinton, and ultimately, if they develop into something, and there were others as well, but ultimately, if they develop into something, yeah, I'm sure they'll feel proud about it, but it's not their decision to make. That in the Eagles case, it's Howie's decision to make. So, yeah, I don't. No, I don't think that factors in at all, other than especially with the lower level personnel guys who are just trying to evaluate the traits that may turn them into stars down the road, because I think that's what's lost with the draft process to many fans is you either draft a good player or you draft a bad player. Development's a big part of it. So many things have to go correct, starting with Jalen Hurts himself and his work ethic and his willingness and want, more importantly, to get better and better and better. So it's not like the guy who said, it's probably Jeffrey Lurie, to be honest, who said we should draft Jalen Hurts. It's not like that guy made the right decision at that moment. Like if Jalen Hurts came in here with a bad work ethic and he didn't work his ass off to improve each and every year and each and every week and each and every off season, it wouldn't have worked. But other than everybody likes to be right, to your point, which will be true till the end of time. No, I don't think that factors into it.
Interesting thing that he's down at 9. I think all the guys in front of him below the top 4 are egregious. If you want to put him 5, that's fine by me. But I don't know. I mean, Jaden Daniels, 1 year wonder.
I mean, yeah, we all throw it out.
Justin Herbert. I mean, come on, man. I don't know. In my estimation, there's more things.
Egregious. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's a big word. That's like, yeah,
Justin Herbert, John. What the fuck has Justin Herbert done other than look good? Other than look pretty in the pocket? Like I think there's more than meets the eye when it comes to the quarterback position. I don't think it's all about talent. I really don't. I think talent's a huge part of it, but there's a lot of things off the field you need to be a great quarterback. Jalen has all of them. He's not a stat-driven quarterback. He's not a flashy quarterback, and I think people hold that against him, and I don't think it should be. I think some of the things he does that are less quantifiable are part of what makes him great, and people like this leave out that part of the evaluation, and that's why you have guys like Justin Herbert.
That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy to bring up of this group. I mean, that guy's phenomenal. I'll look up his. He was 4th last year. His grade was over 90. The only people he was behind were Lamar, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen. That's it.
You're a big Herbert guy. I'm not a big Herbert guy.
Well, I mean, that's just
I think he's pretty overrated.
That's bias in the other direction. I mean, that guy, a blind person could see this guy's a good quarterback.
Yeah, but being a good quarterback doesn't. I mean, he's a good quarterback. There's no doubt about it. His traits are amazing, but he's not a big game player. He's been really, really bad performances in 2 playoff games. They've had really good rosters. I mean, in LA.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
They have back in Marty Schottenheimer days.
They had good. There was one offseason in recent years, John, where everybody was like, "Whoa, watch out for the Chargers! Look at their defense. Look at what they've done in LA."
That's not representative of anything. People saying about people's off seasons. I mean, there was a time when the
4 picks. That doesn't matter for anything.
There was a time when the Chargers, when Marty was there and they were winning 12, 13 games and everybody, that's the most talented team in football. And Marty got a lot of shit because he didn't win. He was a great coach, but he didn't win. And that's just the nature of the position. But I mean, there's guys like Jared, he's like the last guy of the group that's on the list.
I know you like him above the other ones more.
Well, these are the exact same things I heard about Matthew Stafford in Detroit until he got to prove with a better supporting cast.
That's fair. I give you that. I can give you that. But Matthew Stafford never had a 4-pick playoff game and got him out of the playoffs. That was egregious. I mean, the guy's got 2 playoff games, John. He's got 50% completions in 2 playoff games. I mean, the guy doesn't show up when you need him to show up. Doesn't that count for something?
There's 2 things I recommend when it comes to personnel evaluation. Because everybody gets knocked on their ass, as I always point out, Brought up Jared Verse knocking Mekhi Becton on his ass. Don't scout highlights. And don't scout lowlights. And if you do,
That's fair. But
if you do take somebody's worst moment, you're probably going to be wrong. And if you take their best moment, you're probably going to be wrong. Now, I'm not saying it. In fact, actually, I would recommend don't watch highlights at all. I recommend watching lowlights and saying, well, all right, what went wrong here? What's going on? And believe me, I'm sure the Chargers have done that. I don't cover the team. I'm sure they've done that. I'm sure there's context to those interceptions. I'm sure Justin was a big part of it. I'm sure there were other big parts of it. I remember the game. I don't remember it that distinctly. Obviously, I didn't cover the game. I mean, from every quarterback from Tom Brady on down, they have shitty moments. You saw Patrick Mahomes in the biggest game.
No,
He
I'm not
looked
saying
like garbage.
Well, I do agree with your premise of like if you're going to evaluate on highlights and lowlights, you're probably going to be off, and I get that, but that's where it kind of ties into my. I think there's more than just talent that you need at that position.
Well,
I mean, Tom Brady, that's how he made his head. Now, I'm not saying Tom Brady didn't have talent. I'm just saying what made Tom Brady 7 Super Bowls. Was it the talent? Or was it all the things coupled with his talent that got him that far?
Well,
Look at a guy like Aaron, who had more talent probably, but didn't have some of the other things, to get him that far.
Well, I find it interesting that everybody made a big thing, and I knew they would, of Nick's comments defending Jalen Hurts. And that's bullshit comments. I knew everybody would, but I think it's ironic that everybody ignores the context of the answer, which is, again, arguing both sides of what you just asked. Nobody wins without good players around them. Nobody. So if you're using that as a criticism of Jalen Hurts, it's stupid. It's bullshit, as Nick said. But if you're using it to prop him up, it's also de facto bullshit, because you're ignoring the talent around them. And that's why it's so difficult to evaluate quarterbacks, because they're not in a vacuum. And that's why nobody criticizing Patrick Mahomes. I got to tell you, that's the worst games, one of the worst quarterback games I've ever seen. To the point, I'm lower on the Kansas City Chiefs than most people coming into the season, because admittedly are breaking my own rule. And that was such a bad performance. I'm like, well, this is a descending team, rather than the Eagles just beat the brakes off them because they didn't have an offensive line that could block their defensive front, which is the more likely explanation. And as I get further away from the game, I've come off that. But Patrick Mahomes, who nobody's going to criticize, nobody should criticize, by the way, was abject garbage in that game. Abject garbage from a quarterback playing perspective. And that's one of the best quarterbacks who's ever lived, with all the accolades, MVPs, Super Bowls, all of it. And he played like garbage for one 60-minute span in February. Why don't people see that side of it and say, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm weighting this too heavily. This guy's demonstrated performance over a pretty significant sample size says he's pretty damn good. That's all I'm trying to say.
It's an interesting conversation. I don't know. When you rank all these guys above Jalen, it makes me think I'd take those guys above Jalen. And I don't know if there's any of them I would take above Jalen.
Well, if you are building, not like if you're another team
from scratch,
yes. If you're another team and you have a foundation and you want to play a specific way, and you want to be a high volume throwing team, and you want to be 11 personnel all the time and spread the field, why would you take Jalen over some of these other guys?
Well, I mean, if you wanted to build that offense, you probably wouldn't take him first. I
Well, that's
understand
what I'm
that, but
saying.
why are we so convinced that that's the best way to build? I mean, if you look at the recent Super Bowl winners, Jalen's the one who had the best roster and won. Yes. Mahomes is kind of the only one who didn't have the great roster and still won. I think that's what
He had a
separates
great
them.
roster. He didn't
Yeah, but
have
not
great skill position players after,
yeah,
but
he
he had a
did
great
not have.
roster. He had Chris Jones. He had that defense. He had Travis
Well,
Kelce.
outside of Chris Jones, I mean, I don't think he had a stacked roster to the gills. I mean, he had the good cornerback. He's got Chris Jones, but everywhere else, they've had a lot of moving parts on that team. They've lost a
They
lot
got
of
the
good
best
players. They
interior
got rid of
offensive
Tyreek Hill. They
lineman
got
in
rid of
football.
Jerry Sneed. They got rid of a lot of good players, John. I mean, they've been a kind of a revolving door over there.
Well, yeah,
Mahomes has kept them in the dance. Remember, after they beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl and they went back and repeated, everybody in the middle of the year, they were like, whoa, what's going on with the Chiefs? They weren't very good.
well, everybody, because everybody's hyper focused on skill positions. And yeah, they took a step back after Tyreek Hill from a skill position standpoint. And something they still haven't recovered from. And remember, they lost Rasheed Rice because of issues off the field. They lost Xavier Worthy. Who knows? Maybe it would have been better if they had those guys, but injuries and other problems are a part of it, are always a part of it. And they deserve credit for build, but they have a lot of good players, the Chiefs. Again, that's the Nick point. Like people putting on like Patrick Mahomes won without good players. That's just not true.
No, I'm not
That's
saying
not
he won
true.
without good players. I'm saying he didn't have a stat. Jalen had a better roster than Patrick Mahomes. You agree?
Oh, last year, yeah. Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, the
And
Eagles
what
proved that.
about who had a better roster last year, Lamar or Mahomes in the last 3 years, 1 year?
Probably Baltimore. Yeah, probably Baltimore. But
So that's where I think Mahomes differentiates himself a little bit in that he's the one guy that you could argue, oh, that roster wasn't stacked to the gills. Now, I don't think it was. You might think it was better than I did. I think it was good. I don't think it was this world-beating roster like the Eagles roster is. I really don't.
well,
And he
I
went
think
one.
the Eagles
I mean, he
put
won
together
multiple.
I think the Eagles put together one of the best rosters in the modern era of football.
Me too.
So
Me
I
too.
don't think that's necessarily a fair comparison compared to the original debate and that Nick brought up of nobody wins without good players. And there's a shitload of good players on Kansas City. To use the outlier and how he deserves credit for building that roster, and we all know some of the reasons it came to pass. But Jeremy just did his thing, and everybody ignores all the other positions. Creed Humphrey was the number one interior offensive lineman in football. Trey Smith was in the top 10. And this is their bad offensive line. Joe Thuney's been a long-time Pro Bowl player. Their issues are at tackle, which forced them to move Joe Thuney outside when they had to. Defensively, everybody was glazing Spagnuolo up to because of how good they've been defensively. Yes, losing players. But I mean, Trent McDuffie's one of the best cornerbacks in football.
Yeah,
Still,
I agree with that.
Chris
He's
Jones
incredible.
is arguably the best interior defensive lineman still. And their pass rush, Karlaftis and they're not Trey Hendrickson, similar to the Eagles, but it was damn good. So no, were they the Eagles? No, almost everybody thinks the Eagles have the best roster coming into training camp, which will start. There's differentiating opinions. Some people might say Baltimore. There's a few other teams you can point to, but most people think the Eagles are the top roster in football. And think about what they lost. That's after what they lost. Milton Williams, you got $26 million on the open market.
Yeah,
Josh
I know,
Sweat.
but if you count it to what the Chiefs, like you just said, well, shit, we got plenty of great players still too, and that's why they're the number one roster. I mean, the Chiefs had a lot of holes, and that, yeah.
I'm not debating that. I'm debating most people think they still have the number one roster, and they lost all those guys. So how good was it in February? Is my point.
Yeah.
Those guys were all there. Sweat and Williams and Slay and CJ.
Do you agree though? Wouldn't have been the right move to try and run it back, so to speak.
Like the Sixers?
Please don't.
Well, it's not
God,
possible.
I'm already debating the Jalen Hurts rankings today. I don't need Sixers talk.
Well, I say that because Paul George got hurt, but I had to text my wife back. I apologize, but
you got to handle that. I'll take a break if you need me to.
No, she's at the car dealership. But anyway, yeah. What was your question? Sorry, I got distracted.
I was saying, what the heck did I just say?
Right. Yeah, I got distracted.
I don't even remember what you got me distracted.
The Eagles had a freaking phenomenal roster last year. That's not an insult to Jalen Hurts. It's nothing to blame him for, but it's also not, as Nick Sirianni points out. And again, he said it to us, most recently, but he has said this in the past, and he has even asked us, point out, give him a team, because Nick's a football historian. Give him a team that you think won without good players, and he'll tell you all the good players. And he does.
Some quarterbacks have great players and don't win, can't get over the hump. That held against him at all?
Well, if you don't win, it's held against you. But,
But that's where I think like Lamar deserves more knock than somebody else. Because I think Lamar's had a comparable roster to the Eagles in the last 5 years. I think the Ravens are one of the best organizations in football.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, everybody does. And he'll ultimately, he takes tons of hits for that. That's all they talk about. Oh, he can't win the playoffs.
Well, he's still in the top five.
I mean, for years, Peyton Manning took those same hits. And to me, that might surprise newer football fans because he's such a legend now. But he's only got one.
Would you take Herbert over Hurts? Herbert over Hurts. Would you do it?
Yeah. I mean, sorry, people. I mean, I'm trying to. When I say that, I'm trying to put people in the vacuum that doesn't.
Yeah, exist. This is from scratch. I'm not just saying right here. I'm not saying plug them in right here. I know
the Eagles. No, for the Eagles, no. Perfect quarterback for the Eagles. I take Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, me too.
For 31 other teams, you're just plugging them in. Justin Herbert's going to make, more of those 31 other teams a little bit better. Not that I wouldn't mind having Jalen. I don't think it's an insult at all. I know everybody's going to disagree with me. I don't think it's an insult at all. They're both really good. But if you're pointing, and your point about Lamar, well, he's always in the top 5. Yeah, he's always in the top 5 because he's that fucking good.
Yeah, everybody knows it. Well, John, what I appreciate about you is that when you explain something, you have the knowledge bank, the history, the explanation, and a real explanation that makes sense versus some people. I feel like it's a little bit of an aggregation type of thing, but I wouldn't have him at 9, John. I wouldn't. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'll stick to my word. Egregious, Johnny Mac.
I think that word's too. That word to me is very expressive, and maybe to other people it isn't.
Sometimes you got to be bombastic in life, John.
And yeah, it's far from egregious. I actually agree with you, which people probably didn't. I'd have him ahead of Jared Goff, definitely. And then you can debate all the way up to number 5. I have no problem with people wanting to say he's better than Justin Herbert. If you're going to ask me personally, Matthew Stafford for many years, I would have had him over, and probably I thought more of Matthew Stafford when he was younger in Detroit, and everybody thought he stunk.
Yeah.
Than I do now, and I do think he is descending, and I put Jalen over him. So Jayden I have Daniels no problem.
Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels or Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, well, I think you know where I'm going there. So I don't want to upset people. But same explanation for the Eagles. No. I take Jalen Hurts. For the 31 other teams, I take Jaden Daniels.
You've made our resident Commander fan, James Jones, very happy this morning. He says, Jaden Daniels, baby. James Jones, get out of here, James Jones. You're not
very
welcome
good player.
today.
But I've said it many times. I don't like quarterback evaluation in general. I don't like it. I think.
Do you think the fact that Jalen's not like a stat player, he's not a flashy guy like some of these, do you think that's held against him, or do you think that's just?
Well, it depends who you're talking to. Like, there was a whole group, and I just heard one of them, and I'm not going to say who it was, but I just heard one in town go down the road that I would say more people go down the road of, well, he won a Super Bowl, period, than try to explain the context of the position and what Nick Sirianni did about supporting cast and everybody needs a good.
Yeah, but back to my point, that's what I think you do much better than 99% of people who talk about this stuff.
But I'm only saying for for some people, they ignore that side exists, and I think that side is much bigger, actually. So in a lot of ways, you can argue Jalen Hurts gets elevated because now, not the past, because now he just did it, because he won a Super Bowl. I would think that if you wanted to grab 100 people who love football, that elevates him with more of the 100 people than are going to argue, well, yeah, but he had the great supporting cast. I think that side is much bigger than the other side.
It's fair. Let me channel my inner Nick Sirianni. Bullshit. All right, good stuff though. Good conversation about the quarterbacks. I thought Jalen was a little low, but it did spark a football
Jeremy Fowler, baby.
Yeah, baby. I mean, I went on Twitter yesterday. I'm like, oh my God, well, this thing really spread around.
Great timing to hold the quarterbacks as we limp towards the finish line of the offseason. But guess what? They're back on the field. They got a great roster. Boy, that team was good last year.
It was good.
And Jalen Hurts is a big part of it. Not a criticism. In fact, I think the Eagles were unfair to. I've said that people don't listen. I think the Eagles were unfair to Jalen Hurts. Nobody hears that. I still think they were unfair to him.
Yeah, they hear it, but it's hard to hear fully because of the success that the team had. You know, so
yeah, exactly.
Like, well, right.
Winning, it's a cliche for a reason. Winning solves everything. It does.
Yeah, right.
It does.
Well, I appreciate your consistency and the way you evaluate it with or without all of those things. Johnny Mac, we're moving in on our top 25. We'll move on from this. Wait. We got some super chats on this topic, so let me just get to them. Carlos checking in. What's up, Carlos? Chargers had the #1 scoring defense last year. I did think they had a better team, John, than you made them out to be. I didn't think they had a shitty team.
I said, first of all, I didn't say that. I said
you didn't say they were shitty, but I said they had a really good roster.
I said the Chargers. I was talking about his career as a whole. I said that Chargers are a team I'm very high on because Jim Harbaugh is a damn good coach, and he's generally got a shelf life. I've said this numerous times throughout the offseason. Yes, they're going to play more of that, for lack of a better term, I'd call it Harbaugh style, but for people locally, Eagles style, where they're placing more emphasis on the running game and defense, which is their point. He's a very good coach, and they're getting better. And I've said it probably 5-6 times in the offseason for people who listen to this show. Everybody's high on Denver, and that's fine. I get why. Sean Payton, Bo Nix, people are excited. Well, I'm higher on the Chargers potentially upsetting the Chiefs if somebody is to do it in the AFC West. I've said that pretty consistently. Part of that is because they have gotten better under Jim Harbaugh, and they have a damn good quarterback. That's why I'm high on them.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs have gotten worse when it comes to that AFC West.
Well, the Eagles kind of broke me on the Chiefs. Like, I have to recalculate. because that was so dominant. I have to recalculate. Like, I'm probably being too high on the hard on the Chiefs because of one game, and that's a bad way to do it, as I just explained. So I have to recalculate that. But when you were there and I was there for that, that was fucking impressive.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
And so I'm a little bit broke on the Chiefs. I got to recalculate. They're probably better than I'm making it out to be. Not probably, definitely. But if there's one team I'm higher on the Chargers than the Broncos, which I think is probably more or higher on the Broncos, I'm higher on the Chargers. And it has to do, yes, it has to do with the quarterback, but it also has to do with the coach coaching the right way. Now, they have to take advantage of it because it's a short shelf life, because Jim Harbaugh's history is he's going to piss a bunch of people off and it's going to go down. So they have to take advantage of it pretty quickly.
Keep pissing them off, Jim. I love it. Kimberly Sirico says, J-Max said these lists come out in the off season to create content. Spot on. They love to create drama. It's great content. Drama llamas. I like that. Drama llamas.
Well, I mean, this one's more realistic than a lot of people just do their personal top. Like, I don't get, no offense to anybody doing it. It's fine. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I don't give a shit about somebody else's opinion. These are at least people in the industry, so I think it's more valuable. So that part, I don't think Jeremy's doing it for drama circumstances, but I mean, there's, reputation plays into it, all that kind of things. I remember
it's not none of that's public. I don't know if there is any reputational damage that could come from something like this.
No, I'm not saying player wise. I'm saying, one of the things
for the scouts or the GMs or the execs. Yeah. I don't think, is it public anywhere who voted for what? I don't think so. Right.
No.
Yeah. So
no, I don't mean it from that perspective, but I'm saying, like, Joe Mixon, I know, was top 10 in running backs, and that people are like, yeah, Joe Mixon, good player, top 10, it's been a good player. Well, he had a really bad year last year. So I think sometimes, at least, from the advanced stats and all that kind of stuff, yards after contract, that, pretty bad, near the bottom of the league. But, he's been good for a long time, and people say, all right, Joe Mixon, you get some of that. Like, it's because football moves quickly. And
it does. It really does move quick.
And everybody, great players are not great forever. And everybody starts, with descent. And sometimes it's hard to, you just default to, like, what players on the Eagles, Lane Johnson, I think, I'm not by any means, Lane is still playing at a very high level. But eventually, maybe Jason Peters is the better example. As he hung on and hung on and hung on and hung on, if Lane does that, hopefully he doesn't. Jason didn't, so who knows? There's going to be a descent. With Joe Mixon, I think it started, but he was still top 10. So anyway, I just use it.
Don't you think some of the guys the Eagles got rid of, though, were the biggest candidates potentially for a descent in the upcoming season? Slay, Sweat, Milton coming off such a high. I don't know if Milton would have been able to redo what he did last year.
Well, Milton's problem is his contract, because people are going to expect, people are going to expect him to be Jalen Carter.
Exactly, especially in New England.
To me, he's still going to be a really good player. I mean, he's the exact player you want to sign in free agency, coming off his rookie deal, still young, didn't play a lot early in his career, so there's not a ton of tread off his tire. Like, he's the exact type of player you want to sign in free agency. I would have loved to have that guy for any team in the NFL. Literally. I mean, he is the perfect free agent signing, except now he's got to live with those expectations. And unfortunately, that's part of it. Now, if New England is disciplined enough to say that's where the salary cap is going, that's just the cost of doing business, and they tune out the criticism because he's not going to be Jalen Carter, they'll be fine. But that's easier said than done. other guy, Slay's obviously, at his age, it can come at any time. And I have no issues with the Eagles moving on at this particular time, because I've said pretty consistently it's time to shit or get off the pot with Kaylee Ringo. I mean, if you go another year, you won't know if he's worth extending. And maybe he isn't worth extending, but that's sort of some of the gambles you have to take to be successful in the NFL. CJ, I mean, I know he can play. Is he going to be on the straight? I don't know. Is he going to blow things up? Is he? I don't know. All that to me is off the field stuff, and it's real. What he just got in trouble, not in trouble, but drama. Speaking of drama llamas,
he certainly
CJ's in more drama because there's his baby mama said this, and he just a nightmare to deal with.
Baby mama said this.
John,
you're kind of on fire this morning.
Well, I mean, it is. People say, "What does CJ have?" I mean, turn on Instagram, right, to explain why the Eagles moved on from CJ.
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Josh Sweat, that's right in the, maybe he's really good. I don't I think he's a really good player, and I think he's still got shelf life. I'd love to have him back on the Eagles. So those are the main guys. Who'd I miss?
That's really it. I think that's all of them. CJ, Slay.
Oh, Mackay.
Mackay. What about Sweat? Did you talk about Sweat?
Yeah, Sweat. I think he's a really good player. Mackay, I don't have any problem, simply because I think that knee is more problematic and Mackay doesn't want to talk about it. And Mackay's a really nice guy but if you bring up that knee, he gets surly and you start to go, wow, this guy's 6'8", 360. I better shut up.
Yeah, right.
Like, I think that's a bigger problem than,
which is also, it's also the reason you worry about the knee, because he's 6'8", 360.
Well,
Yeah.
So anyway, I think all the Eagles moves made sense. You can't pay Milton that money. You can't pay Josh that money where they are, what they have to pay down the road. But they lost some really good players. So both things could be true.
Good stuff there. Let's get to them. I'm going to thank my man, Chris AM. Gives 10 memberships out to the channel. Chris, thank you, man. I appreciate it. You're always showing love here in JAKIB, and we appreciate you. We love you, brother. God bless you, and thank you so much for the support. For anybody who got a gifted membership, drop it in the comments so I can see who got the 10 gifted memberships from Chris AM. Chris, thank you for the support. Season's right around the corner, brother. Dank Bird Gang checks in. Member, look at this, John. Member for 24 months. Dank, that's major love. Thank you, bro. 24 months is a lot of time. 2 years. He says, I remember a time where people were mad Peyton was getting commercials and Brady wasn't, even though he's been winning Super Bowls.
I don't know, Dan.
Peyton is kind of the funny personality. I mean,
every
time a Peyton Manning commercial comes on, my dad's like cracking up, and I'm like, boy, people really do love Peyton Manning.
Yeah. Well, he hosted Saturday Night Live once. He was damn good.
Yeah.
He does have it. Like, I don't know if anybody cares about commercials. If they do, they shouldn't, but
I think it's part of like the allure of a player or an athlete. You know what I mean? It's part of the
Peyton's got a great personality.
He does.
I don't recall people having a big I don't recall there being a big groundswell of Tom should have more commercials than Peyton. I don't know. I just don't recall it.
That never crossed into Johnny Mac's.
I would say that's always going to be, if you have a personality like Peyton, if you could host Saturday Night Live credibly, you deserve your commercials. And he hosted Saturday Night Live credibly. So
that's
I would
true.
say that.
Slagger says, I hate to say it, but Eli has good TV presence also. Yes, he does. Those Mannings are
well. That's funny. You bring up Eli. I remember Eli had a Citizen Watch commercial. This is one.
I remember that.
And the whole tagline was, because Citizen Watches never stop, they're unstoppable. And I chuckled out loud. I go, yeah, Eli's unstoppable. So I chuckled at that one, but it didn't. It didn't upset by it. I just chuckled at it.
That is funny. Alexander Harris checking in. What's up, Alexander Harris? He says, just feels it's crazy for people to hold the fact that the Eagles have a good GM against Hurts. Like, what QB
I
doesn't
don't know who does
need a good
that.
team around?
That's my
There are people who do that.
Yeah,
I think.
but I'm not talking. Yes, I'm not talking.
I mean,
about
even
other
Nick addressed it,
fans.
didn't he? He said, "Oh, the people who call him a caboose or along for the ride, it's bullshit." So it does happen. I don't. I'm not saying you do it, but it does happen.
I'm saying people, and that's why people inside the industry don't do it. Like fans, yeah. Grifters, yeah. God bless him. I love Dan Orlovsky, but he's the one telling you 1 week he's terrible, and the next week he's Tom Brady. Yeah. You don't go from being terrible to being Tom Brady in a 4-week span. He's good. People in the industry know it, and I don't even think Dan believes that. But look, there's something, and you saw it. FS1 canceled a lot of their shows. If you don't generate viewers and eyes and all that kind of stuff, they're going to move on. So people do it to get, and people know, yes, people know the Eagles fan base is passionate and it's going to generate this talk. They know it. They love it. They want it. They crave it. So, beware. Sometimes you're being grifted, and some people are setting up segments. You do this, you say this,
right?
Battle it out.
I don't think we do that at all here on Birds 365.
We've never done it, not once that I know of.
No, I don't do it. Certainly not.
I've never. I first of all, I wouldn't agree to it, because I think that's my whole tagline with this show is elevate the conversation. I try to make people think about things and try to make people understand. Well, why is he ninth? I think I did a decent job.
I think you
not that it's right, but why would he land up ninth? That doesn't have to do what people just hate Jalen Hurts. Like I think a lot of people default to that, and I kind of I do. I like I'm watching an Eli Manning Citizen Watch Mirror. I kind of chuckle at that, and I chuckle at that because I know how well respected he is. Well, people around the league just hate and are, whatever, disrespect Jalen Hurts. Like, I don't think that's true, and I don't think it serves any audience to pretend it's true. If you know it isn't, and some people don't know it isn't. So I get that as well. But I've talked to enough people around this league to know that he's pretty damn well regarded. Listen to Steve Spagnuolo talk about him. Yeah. He did it publicly.
Steve, I think I saw a clip of Steve talking to Burrow in the quarterback show, something about you're the best guy except for our guy or something. That was an interesting comment. Carlos Morris checks in. What's up, Carlos? He says, no one called us a super team until we killed teams. That is true.
Well, I agree with that, but that's what happens. You can only objectively look at a team after it's done. Like the fact that if your point is you want everybody to bow down and say your favorite team is the greatest team that ever lived, most credible people aren't going to do that because they want to see what happens.
Yeah, it's
projection. There's a lot of things. And there's a lot of things that can go along the way. We talk ad nauseum about the final two Jalen Carter pass rushes. How does that change the season if Jalen Carter doesn't get home? How does that change your thought process? Do you think this is a super team if they lose to the Los Angeles Rams? Probably not. You're probably pissed off saying, how'd they lose to the Los Angeles Rams in the divisional round of the playoffs? But guess what? They persevered and they took off. And they had one of the most dominating Super Bowl performances of all time. I would argue, certainly, and I've argued, I don't think it's fair to compare pre-free agency teams to post-free agency. And that's why I say the modern era post-free agency, for me, it's one of the best 2 or 3 teams ever. Still think the Patriots that lost were the best team I've ever seen.
Yeah, they were crazy good. Yep.
But they're one of the best teams of the modern era.
That was crazy when they lost that Super Bowl. I'll never forget that. I was a young kid. I was at the Super
And
Bowl.
they still almost won with the heave. Moss almost got that.
I know. Carlos, thanks, man. Another one from Carlos. He says, Herbert equals Jay Cutler. Burrow equals Kirk Cousins. Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yeah, well, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you're comparing, and by the way, I like Kirk Cousins more than most.
I like
Dude, that is a horrible comp. A horrible comp. Jay Cutler was actually supremely talented, but he was a head case. So from that's a bad comp. They're both horrible comps. But
I saw him.
The Burrow to Cousins one is particularly horrible. I mean, that's. By the way, you bring up that quarterback show. Did you see the clip of the Eagles' respect for Joe Burrow?
No, I didn't. I didn't watch the show yet. Did you watch the show? You said you liked the first season, didn't you?
The first season was great. I haven't watched it. I'll watch it eventually. I saw the clip online about when the Eagles were playing and they're all fighting to trade jerseys with Joe Burrow on the field, like they wanted his jersey after the game. So
I saw that, yeah.
Your own team's respect for Joe Burrow, you should note that before you start.
I saw this. Did you see this? Jay Cutler's now taking shit, I guess, for, I don't know, he shot some antelope in Florida or in Africa.
Yeah, he's a weird cat, man.
I don't know. He's hunting, or I don't know. He was hunting or something. I've never been bothered by hunters, but I do know there's a lot, big animal, a lot of
great. He had great, as they say, arm talent. You know who the best comparison? Jay Cutler and Jeff George are like the same person. Just phenomenal arm talent, but probably didn't have it upstairs. But boy, they could sling it, as they say.
Major thanks to all in the chat today for all the super chats. Hit that like button for us, guys. We appreciate you all being here. We're 1 week away from the Eagles reporting for training camp. How about it? So Rashid Mixon checks in. What's up, Rashid? One of our best viewers here. He's been here all offseason, Johnny Mac. Rashid says, none of them except for Matt Stafford can be argued above Hurts. I've seen Herbert with a great team, and the only thing that came out of it was 5,000 yards.
All right, let's try it this way, Rashid. Would you rather put the quarterbacks off to the side? Would you rather have the Eagles roster, your beloved Eagles, or the Chargers roster?
Certainly the Eagles. I mean, I'm pretty sure that would be a unanimous pick.
I'm pretty sure he'd say the Eagles. So,
Rashid, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm pretty sure you'd say the Eagles too.
Yeah. And again, when you say none of them except for Matt Stafford can be argued, any of them can be argued. They're all good players. Any of them. Just as Jalen, as I said, which again, I don't think people will listen.
I think
Jalen should be higher. But you can make the argument, as people did, that the other guys should be higher. You can certainly make the argument. I'm one on the case that Matthew Stafford in Detroit was certainly better. Matthew Stafford now, I don't think he is better, to be honest. He's one of the ones I would put Jalen over. So you can make arguments both ways. That part of it is incorrect.
Harris checks in again. Member for 11 months. Thank you, brother, for that's pretty dope. 11 months. We had a lot of 11-month members because this was the time last year when we started the Saquon Barkley jersey giveaway, so everybody became a member. So if you're thinking about re-upping, we are doing the giveaways again this year. We got tons of stuff.
I think it's going to be a Jalen Hurts giveaway. So get ready.
I'm going to have to do Saquon too. I feel like everybody wants a Saquon jersey.
Again?
Well, I'll do it a little different, and that's not going to be our main thing like we had last year. But last year I gave away so many jerseys outside of our Saquon giveaway, so I'm still going to give away a bunch of Saquon jerseys. We'll get some Jalen Carters this year. Jalen Hurts's. Who else is it? Would be a great AJ Browns. I'd like to give away more AJ Browns this year. We're going to give away. I'm trying to give away 50 plus jerseys at least. I think that might be low. 50 plus jerseys for the season. So get your memberships in, and I appreciate all of you who are members.
How about a Ty Robinson jersey?
I like that. I could go a Ty Robinson jersey.
Wait until the 53-man roster. Some guys might change their numbers, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. Terrence Bond checking in. What's up, Terrence? He says, Jalen don't care about ranking, and neither do I. Everybody got different opinions and bias. I just glad we got a winning culture with Jalen. Well, that's a pretty good take.
Yeah, that's how you should be.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about rankings.
Jalen's hanging out with Michael Jordan right now. Are you kidding me?
He's in Greece. He doesn't give a shit about rankings.
In Greece with the GOAT. Are you kidding me? Jalen is not thinking about this. I don't think, at least. Maybe he sees it, but I don't think he cares.
No, I'm sure he sees it, but yeah, I don't think he cares that much.
Oh, he sees it for sure. I forget who it was that it was Peyton Manning. Did you see Peyton Manning said this one time? Recently, there's something this offseason. He said, I think back either before last year or something, he did his top 5 quarterbacks, and Jalen wasn't on the top 5. And like 10 minutes after it got released.
Well, they're very close. I mean,
yeah, I know they're very close.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, if Jalen does see some of the stuff that's said, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but Peyton, I mean, he loves Peyton, so
yeah,
I mean,
but still, it still gets pushed out in the same way a lot of the other things get pushed out,
Yeah. But I'm saying is like
Peyton, hey, who's your top 5?
I'm sure when Chris Sims is doing his rankings, he's not texting him 10 minutes.
No, he's not, but he might see it.
You might see it, but I'm just saying he and Peyton are very close.
Yeah,
they have been for.
So he chirped at Peyton Manning.
Yeah, that was just chirping.
Terrence, thanks for the super chat, brother. B. Preston checking in. What's up, Preston? Preston, I'm pretty sure it was you who commented the other day for me. You were subscribed to both this channel and my car channel. So thank you so much, brother. I appreciate your support and reaching out. He says, that goes both ways, J-Mac. What if Puka didn't catch that pass on Slay? We aren't even talking about Cardle. That's true. I don't love the coulda, woulda, shoulda game.
I didn't say it. Yeah, but when did I say it went both ways?
Well, no, but we granted,
it's a Jody Mack hypothetical. I'm just saying it changes everything. It changes the viewpoint of these very fans arguing so vociferously. The egregious fans would be shitting on Jalen Hurts as we speak today. Shitting because of the game he played against the Los Angeles Rams. That's the reality. Could 170 different things happen? Sure. Jalen Carter could have not punched the football away from the running back. There's a bunch of things that could have happened differently. And there's a bunch of games in the NFL that happen every week, that help and hurt. If you go all the way back to the start of the season, the Eagles rarely lost. You can go back and say, well, if Saquon catches the football against Atlanta, that's a win. Or you can also go back to New Orleans and say, if they didn't play Keystone Cops and run into each other, the Eagles lose that game, and Dallas Goedert doesn't have that 60-yard reception or whatever to steal the game. It can happen all the time. My only point is you would all be shitting on the quarterback you are so vociferously defending for the game he played against the Los Angeles Rams. That's it. Obviously, could have went the Rams' way. Should have went the Eagles' way. Did go the Eagles' way, ultimately. Yeah, that's baked in. Why is that so hard to understand? The point is they were that close to this entire offseason being completely different. We barely mentioned the words Jalen Hurts this offseason.
And when we did,
we got shit on. The entire offseason about what's wrong with the quarterback. What happened with the quarterback? The entire offseason. Because, to my original point, it wasn't his best season. Just because he won the Super Bowl. Because he didn't win the Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl with his teammates. That's it. Common sense.
Reminds me of Dominic Dabney says this. He says, well, it didn't happen, so I guess we'll never know. Reminds me, you ever seen that clip of, I think it was Kanye West, who's like who won an award, and they're like, many asked me what I would do if I didn't win. He says, Well, I guess we'll never know. That's what it reminded. That's
Hey,
what that comment reminded me of.
I realize nobody's going to, you know, people love to be right, blah, blah, blah. They're never going to admit it. Yeah. When you're looking in the mirror, getting ready, you know it. You'd be fired up if you're an Eagles fan, if they lost that game. You know it. You don't have to admit it. You're never going to admit it, but you know it deep down. You would have been incensed if they lost that game. I've been around Philadelphia for a while. You guys get incensed when they lose games. Can't pull the wool over my eyes. You can lie to yourself. I'm not the one screaming at Nick Sirianni, run the football, you stupid idiot.
Well, Nick, when Nick engages with the fans, John,
well, Nick shouldn't engage with the fans. I'm the voice of reasons. I'm the one who said, yeah, Nick's a pretty good coach. Yeah, you shouldn't fire him. Yeah. So, I mean, you're lying to yourselves. I've seen it. This ain't a nice place when the Philadelphia Eagles lose. And they haven't lost much. So
no, they haven't.
Now the expectations are raised. So when they do lose, because I don't think they're going 17-0. Oh, the shit storm's coming out.
What'd you have them? 11 wins this year?
Yeah. 11 going up to 12, though, in our Jody Mack inspired, if you had to go up or down.
I love that. That is a good thing that Jody Mack introduced here. Dirty Air checking in. What's up, Dirty Air? He says, one day the league will learn to stop giving Jalen all this bulletin board material. Agreed, Dirty Air.
Yeah. Can I?
John, you've been going off all morning. The floor is yours. Go again, my friend.
There's no bulletin board. There's nothing penciled up. Now, if people can use the egregious disrespect, feel free.
That's the word of the show.
Feel free to use it. If it works for you, it works for you. Use anything that works for you. I always say. Nobody's got an actual bulletin board sticking up at you. Hey, you know what John McMullen said? You know what Dan Orlovsky said? You know what some unnamed executive said?
It does still. I think people, look, everybody in life in a way wants some form of validation. In the arena that Jalen Hurts exists in, the desire for him to want the respect would be normal of any human being. So when people, and again, you always say this, John, you always say people in the know don't think of it like that. And I agree with you for that. But the majority of conversation is dominated by fans, by aggregators, and by the people who talk about the sport day in and day out. When fans go online and talk about their football team all day, which they all love to do, that's why they're in our chat every single day, they're conversing with other fans. You know what I mean? So their mindset isn't, oh, I talked to the GMs and they don't disrespect Jalen Hurts. It's more driven by all the other stuff.
I get that, but that's why I always say I try to elevate the conversation. I'm not going to play into that because that's not real. I guarantee you, maybe Jalen does care about what Peyton Manning says. Maybe Jalen does care about this particular list. He'll hide it if he does. But I guarantee he doesn't care about Chris Sims' list or any list, our top 25 list. I guarantee he doesn't care about that. But if you use it, hey, Super Bowl 52, I always say the Eagles used that underdog theme to win, and everybody embraced it. And I'm like, boy, that was a load of bullshit. I've said that for years. We all knew how good that team was. That was about the quarterback getting hurt at the worst possible time. And yeah, at that point, there was doubt on Nick Bowles. No question about it. But that team, everybody knew that team was great by that point. Nobody, they would have been, and again, they were literal underdogs. So Doug used it and it worked. And I always say Godspeed to them, but it was bullshit. They would have been significant favorites over Atlanta. They would have been significant favors favorites over Minnesota with Carson Wentz playing quarterback that year, they probably would have been underdogs, legit underdogs in the Super Bowl because it was the Patriots. Not probably. They would have been underdogs. But that whole narrative was essentially built on a foundation of bullshit. But it worked. If it works, if you're a motivator,
Right.
if bullshit works, use bullshit.
Yeah.
So whatever works, works. And individually, if he wants to take that as disrespect, like, you know, I always go back to my.
Well, he does though. Hasn't he proven that he does? Because like, remember the Pittsburgh game? He comes out and throws the ball, and he's like, "Is that what y'all wanted to see?" Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
he
that's
does.
what I'm saying. I brought it up earlier in the week. Our little back and forth about his deep ball. I bring that up all the time because he said they said I can't, you know, and I'm like, who's they? Because everybody I see, and again, I saw it this week in this very story about how good he is on the deep ball. And I'm like, everybody I talk to says, man, he's got a nice deep ball.
But
and I'm like,
majority, as I mentioned, I think the majority of the conversation is driven by the people who aren't in the know that you're talking about. Fans, people on social media.
That's what I'm saying. So
aggregators on TV, you know, and that's probably where Jalen got that from.
Yeah, and if he used it and it works, great. But yeah, from my perspective, I'm not going to lie to you and say people in the league don't think he could throw the deep ball because that's just nonsense. To the point I had to ask him, who's they? Everybody, you know, basically everybody I talk to says you got an unbelievable deep ball, which is why I asked the question. Yeah,
you and Jalen have had some good back and forth.
Yeah, we like each other, believe it or not.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see the mutual respect between J-Mac and Jalen.
You know, I'm not, you know, we're not. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's not inviting you over for the 4th of July.
I think there's a mutual respect between him and certain people, and I think I'm in the category where there's a mutual respect.
Well done. Carlos Morris checking in again. What's up, Carlos? Johnny Mac ripped you on the last take. Let's hope you bounce back here. Jalen, Super Bowl MVP and All-Pro Herbert. Burrow, nothing.
Burrow, nothing. I mean, look, if you want to, I get it. If you want to be a fan, it's just troll. I mean, if you're disputing Joe Burrow's great, like, again, watch your own team's respect for Joe Burrow. Go watch Quarterback on Netflix. Watch your own team's respect for Joe Burrow. Or continue to be not elevating. I'll be nice. The conversation.
Jason A-Team checking in. What's up, A-Team? Member for 12 months. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. It's a full year of membership here on JAKIB Sports. Thank you. He says, just happy to be here, fellas. Work's been crazy. I'm showing appreciation. Excited for training camp. I still think Sidney Brown will start over Makuba. Wow.
Well, that's something we should talk about because training camps have opened. Not many, but the Chargers were the first to get in. Eagles, most teams will be in next week. I think all teams will be in next week. And 30 of the 32 second-round picks are still unsigned because they're trying to get the fully guaranteed money deep down as possible. And Makuba's 64th. Anytime he may miss, now ultimately long-term it's not going to matter, but anytime he might miss from training camp, it becomes more likely that Sidney Brown is the week 1 starter. We've already seen Bick's mentality with this. If you're not practicing, you're not playing. And we saw it with a great player, a legitimately great rookie, great player, Cooper DeJean, missed 20 days. And 20 days turned into 6 weeks in the regular season before he felt comfortable. And think about who Cooper DeJean is.
The guy with supreme talent.
So not only supreme talent, high football IQ, everything. And it took him 6 weeks. So, and I still think Makuba will be in because 64th is not, the guaranteed money isn't going down that far. And ultimately, I think he knows he's got a chance to play. At least if he's got a good agent, he's got a chance to play. But for him to win that job, he's got to be in and he's got to be practicing. And if he isn't in, even if it's for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days a week, whatever it is, Sidney Brown's got to take advantage of that and play well. And if he does, it's going to kick back the Makuba's ability to get on the field early.
18, thank you for the chat, brother. Good conversation there. We'll tap back into the Makuba conversation at some point here in this during this week before we get to camp. Rashid Mixon checking in. Thank you, everybody. By the way, a lot of super chats today. We appreciate all of you guys for supporting the show here in the middle of July. So some of these guys are our P1s. You guys are our best supporters. So we appreciate all of you guys for being here, man. It means a lot to me and John. So hit the like button. You guys have kept us on the air for almost 5 years now. So thank you very much. Rashid says, right now, the Eagles. He was answering to your question of who you would take. Back when Herbert had Allen, Mike, Eckler, Everett on offense, Bosa, Mack, James, Tranquil, Joseph Day, and so much more on D. I was going to say they did have a lot of players over there, John.
So you're taking the Chargers roster over. You're taking the Chargers roster over the Eagles 22 roster. Is that what we're saying? They basically have the same, what was Herbert here? They basically came in and around the same time.
22 is the other year that he made the playoffs, right? Yeah. So 22 would have been the year that I think Rashid's talking about.
The Eagles have been top of the league roster wise for a pretty extended period of time. Obviously they fell apart in Jalen's rookie season. That was Doug's early season. That was Doug's last season, the COVID season where everything kind of went off the rails. But I think a lot of people, Nick talks about this, and Nick talks about it all the time, how lucky he was to come in the team with this offensive line. There were a lot of offensive line injuries in 2020. So I think a lot of people looked at the Eagles and said, well, they're a 4-win team. They suck. They didn't suck.
No, but you told me that. I mean, when we talked about this, you shifted it to Eagles or Chargers. I don't think the Eagles or the Chargers were better than the Eagles, but he did have a damn good roster. I don't think there's any room for him to make excuses.
Well, first of all, I've never heard Justin Herbert make an excuse.
No, well, people making him for him.
I think people are conflating the fact that his lack of playoff success, because they want to twist. It's a pretzel. They want to twist their argument to, well, he's the same as Jalen Hurts.
He's had two really ugly playoff games. Remember, these are his two playoff games. The one with 4 picks, which whatever, I don't know. And then the other one was when Trevor Lawrence threw 4 picks and then came back and won the game. Those were the 2 playoff games that Herbert were a part of. They were pretty memorable playoff games.
Sometimes, again, I've already had this conversation in this show. I don't know how many times I have to say it. If you're gauging if you're gauging a player off one game, you're probably going to get it wrong. Positively or negatively. Again, why are you not grading down? Why you're not downgrading Patrick Mahomes? It's one of the worst quarterback games I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's fair. Real Zeal chat. I'm going to keep moving here because I'm going to finish out our top 25. We got to talk training camp. We got bogged down by the Jalen Hurts at number 9 today. Real Zeal, final super chat, I believe. Yes, final super chat. Thank you, everybody. Real Zeal says, blowing a 13-point lead with 4:30 left is totally on the QB. No one would question Fangio or Nick.
Sorry, I chuckled. Blowing a 13-point lead and no one would question the head coach or the defensive coordinator?
Yeah, well, who blew the 13-point lead? Was it Herbert?
Yeah. I'm assuming that's the
you
blow a 13-point lead and that you think the head coach in any NFL city isn't getting questioned. You don't think the defensive coordinator in any NFL city? I do this for a living, dude. That's all we talk about is the head coach. And if you blow a 13-point, now the quarterback will take heat too. The quarterback takes immense heat, and deservedly so. You got to be kidding me. Nobody.
I think he's being sarcastic. He says the Rams game, and you are missing my sarcasm.
Well, yeah. I'm definitely missing the sarcasm, because any blown lead is the head coach is taking shit. Any head coach, any city, 4-win team, 5-win team. So if you're being sarcastic, I apologize. It's tough to read sarcasm through text, but yeah, I mean, any head coach is getting a million questions about that blown lead, whether it's his fault or not. And often the players are playing. It's always the player's fault. If you go back to Super Bowl 57, it's the player's fault, not Jonathan Gannon. How many times do I have to explain that over the years? They blew the coverages that they handled beautifully all year.
Yeah, right.
And they blew coverages at the most high leverage moments.
They certainly did not last year. All right, everybody. Great segment there. Long segment to start the show on the Jalen Hurts disrespect, Johnny Mac.
Disrespect. Egregious.
Egregious disrespect is the theme of today's show.
If you're tuning in from Greece, because YouTube is international, I have tremendous respect for you.
You think Jalen's tuning in right now? I don't know. Maybe he's getting some bulletin board material.
Not.
One more super. East Coast Rico says, who do y'all want to see have a Pro Bowl season? Mailata. How about we get Mailata to the Pro Bowl? The guy's the best tackle in football.
Well, he already has a Pro Bowl season.
I know. I'm just saying, I want to see him earn it.
Yeah. I mean, I literally don't care, but I would say anybody who hasn't made it, Jordan would be that. Yeah.
Cooper.
I don't
want to see Cooper. Well, I think importance for the team would be Nolan, Cooper, Bond, probably.
Anybody who hasn't made it.
Bond needs to be dominant again, John. He really does.
Well, I don't know if he can be as dominant as he was.
I'm not asking.
He's just got to play at a high level. He's just got to play at a high level.
Yes. I mean, part of the evaluation of the guys we lost was, hey, we're going with Zach Bond, and he's going to hold down, the middle of the field.
Yeah, he's got
middle of the defense.
We probably don't. He's got unrealistic expectations on him. But that's what happens when you play like he did last year. Just look at the career of Fred Warner. He's been consistently, the top inside linebacker in football for 4 or 5 years. You have up years, you have down years, but there's consistent football behind it. And I'm talking up years, down years from splash play perspective. He's got to become Fred Warner. That means there's going to be some better years, some down years from a splash play perspective, but that sometimes that's out of your control.
No doubt about it. Chris AM gives another 10 memberships, man. Thank you so much. That's 20 gifted memberships today for the great people of JAKIB Nation. Drop the emojis in the chat. Now you have access to them. Put the J-Mac face in there every time J-Mac says something that pisses you off or whether you love it. So appreciate Chris AM. Thank you, man. It's a lot of support on the channel, and we appreciate you, bro, for being here and for showing love on the show. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great day.
Why would I piss anybody off with logic?
What do you mean, John? People get pissed off at anything.
That's true. That's true.
Doesn't take much to piss people off. All right, everybody. Appreciate for being here. Let's get to our first commercial break. When we come back, John, we got to wrap up this top 25 list. We've been doing it at the beginning of the shows. And
I'm going to piss more people off. Well,
oh, good. So get your J-Mac emojis ready and drop them in the chat when he pisses people off. Yesterday we had Jalen Carter at 4, Hurts is at 5, and then we have 3, 2, and 1 to go with only 3 names to play. We'll see how they fall. I appreciate everybody for being here. Hit that like button. Let's get to at least 100 likes during the live show today. I don't know what we're up to right now. 49 likes. Come on. Let's get that up to 100. I'd like to get to 150, but we're far out. I don't want to be too greedy. Let's get to 100 likes. We'll be right back here in 3 minutes on Birds 365.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Thrill Seekers and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mack, John McMullen, who's been scorching hot today. Johnny Mack takes.
Well, I did some research, so I want to finish because I didn't know how many Chargers fans there were in the Philadelphia area, how much talent the Chargers have. So I went back and I looked at the PFF team ratings, which isn't perfect, but to have a good team rating, you have to have a bunch of good players. They're combined. And by the way, to also point this out, Justin Herbert is not downgrading the Chargers team grades with his grades because he's near the top every year. So he's elevating the team. So I went back to 2021 because that's Jalen's first year as a starter. Eagles were ranked 11th in the NFL that year, made the playoffs, obviously surprised to a number of people. The mighty talented Chargers were 17th. 2022, when the Eagles, I think, had the best team in football, but they lost. They were graded as the best team in football. #1 overall. The mighty Chargers were 25.
The mighty Chargers.
2023, where the Eagles had the collapse, were 6th. The Chargers were 19th. 2024, which obviously the Eagles had the best team in football, won the Super Bowl, #1. Chargers, with Jim Harbaugh getting better, #6. So legitimately, that's where I'm saying. That's why I'm high on them. But yeah, your narratives are bullshit.
Well, if he's so much better than Jalen Hurts, he should be able to elevate the team more. It's kind of the reason.
He elevated those grades. His grades aren't bad. He elevated those grades. His grades have never been bad. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, by the way, Jalen's grades have never been bad. But Jalen has had a much, much better team. And by the way, nothing wrong with that. Not his fault. But don't give me this bullshit of the Chargers are so talented.
These are words you never want to hear when you come at John McMullen. I did some research at the break. If you hear that from Johnny Mac,
Chargers, the mighty how could they not win? Because Justin Herbert's dragging them down. I mean, that's a dumb comment.
Oh man!
So please clip that and use that. That is a dumb comment. I mean, think. I don't understand.
All right, everybody, let's move on. I'm done talking about Justin Herbert. But John, good job getting some ammo for the responses there. We're doing the top 25 list here on following along with Johnny Mack and Ed Kratz's SI top 25 Eagles players, not all the other league. And we are down to number 3. So we're going to reveal 3, 2, and 1 today. They've all come out so far in SI. So go and check them out at si.com/NFL/Eagles and read the work that John and Ed have done for the last couple of weeks here in the top 25 list. I love it, John. Yesterday, we had Jalen Carter at number 4. Jalen Hurts, number 5. Jordan Mailata was number 6. Cooper DeJean was number 7. Landon Dickerson was number 8. Smitty was number 9. And Quinyon Mitchell was number 10. Baum, I got to say, but I wanted to just give the top 10, and then I see Baum at 11. And I'm like, I have to say Baum was at 11.
That's disrespectful.
Now, that's egregious.
That's egregious.
Yes. There we go, baby.
That's egregious.
That's egregious. Baum
I'm calling my own list egregious.
We still got to get Ed Kratz on and rip him for that. But, John, down to number 3 on the list. There's only 3 names remaining. Which of the 3 falls at number 3 on your guys' top 25 list?
Future Hall of Famer Lane Johnson. And I say that confidently now because I think Lane has crossed the precipice. He's a Hall of Fame player, almost a legend. You know, we talk about in the industry. Boy, you talk about somebody well-respected in the industry. That's Lane Johnson. Just had his O-line masterminds thing down in Texas recently. Just a great player. I had him number 2. Ed had him number 4. He lands at number 3 overall. Just an amazing player. Very similar to Kelsey. Seems to get better as he gets older. Had one of his best seasons last year. I think part of it is he's gotten healthier since he had the big problem.
Right.
Ankles.
I mean, even John, even when he talks, I think you can hear that confidence in his voice. Like he still feels good. You know, he said that recently.
Well, he tried to fix it with a tightrope surgery, and that didn't work. And then they had to do sort of rebuild it. You know, more extensive surgery on this deltoid ligament. But yeah, he's healthy. He's so gifted from a athleticism standpoint, and obviously he's just a big, strong human being. One of the best right tackles I've ever seen. And I think, you know, when people talk about the best right tackles who don't get as much hype as the left tackles, but he'll be in that conversation. That's how good he is.
Yeah.
And if anything, at number 3, I think like I said, I had him at number 2. But, you know, this is a very talented team. So you can make a strong argument that, you know, 4 or 5 guys should have been number 1, depending on your particular definition. Our definition is who does their job the best. Simple.
I'm almost surprised Lane Johnson's not number 1 with that definition. He is that good. John, 35 years old. He's playing maybe his best football. Any concern on a regression at any point this year? I mean, I don't think so, but I feel like I got to ask the question as the host of the show. We're talking about a 35-year-old tackle that is dominant in every game. There's an old saying, Father Time waits for nobody. There are certain athletes, though, who kind of break that trend. Is Lane Johnson one of them? I think he is, but how do you see it playing out here with Lane in the next couple of years?
Well, anytime you get up in age, there's always that possibility. I think with Lane, he's 35. Offensive line is a position you can play a little bit later, and he has at a high level. I think if there's any downtick, it will be health related, and that can impact anybody at any time. But if he's healthy, no, I don't expect any slippage at this point. Will it eventually come if he keeps playing? Of course, but no evidence of it at this stage. And, he acknowledges already he's not quite as athletic as he once was, but he's smarter, he's savvier, understands the position better, and he's actually a better player. And sometimes I always bring up Tim Irwin, player I covered in Minnesota. He played for 17 years, something like that. He wasn't at Lane's level, but he was a darn good right tackle. And he got better and better as he got older because he just knew how to play. And Lane's in that position.
Bud says 3 more seasons for Lane. You take an over or under?
Yeah, I think that's health related. He's said pretty consistently he wants to keep playing if he's healthy. So I think Lane's span is going to be, and that might change if he does make it over 3 years and he starts to descend. I don't think he wants to be a guy just playing to hang on. He's made a ton of money. He doesn't need to play. So I think that'll factor into it if you get to that span. But I think if you don't make it to that, it'll be health related. I think he can play for 3 more years, certainly.
Yeah, I agree. I think Lane Johnson's, it's amazing what he's doing at 35 years old, literally playing some of his best football ever. Future Hall of Famer. We're happy to have him here in Philly. Great comment there. John, he comes in at number 3 on the list, a little lower than I expected for Lane. I'm not going to lie. Thought he would be 2 or 1 on this list for sure. So he comes in at number 3, and now there's only 2 guys remaining, 2 skill position guys remaining. Who is number 2 on the top 25?
Well, this is the one that frustrated some people. Saquon Barkley coming off the historic season, NFL record 2,504 yards when you include the playoffs. First team All-Pro, home run in every aspect, but he's only number 2, which is, it speaks to the talent level. Number 1 on this team. Ed actually had him first. I had him 3rd behind number 1 and Lane Johnson, who I had 2nd. And again, I think, everybody does this differently. And even though we try to come up with that definition of who does their job the best, you can argue when you have the season that Saquon Barkley, you can certainly make that argument. But I think, having spoken to Saquon himself, he's very hard on himself, number 1. But I think people saw he's not a great pass receiver. Sometimes, he's not the most natural guy. And he actually, I think he's too hard on himself because there aren't a lot of running backs who pass protect well in the modern NFL. And he's certainly still top 10 amongst his peers, but he was very disappointed in how he performed there. I think he's way too hard on himself.
Also got a lot of touches. Like, I wonder if that affects your pass blocking ability when you're getting that many touches. You know what I mean? It's just beating up your body. A
ton of touches. But
and then think about that. The plays he's not getting touches, he's pass blocking. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of it's a lot of wear and tear on the body for a running back.
And from my definition, I think you'll understand, and obviously you can figure out who number 1 is, but number 1, point to me what he does poorly, because I've yet to find it. And that's why he's number 1 on my list.
Number 1 is who, John?
AJ Brown. And anybody, and I encourage it, what does he not do? He is unbelievable. And Ed had him number 2. So he's almost a consensus. By the way, he was number 1 last year as well. So 49 of the potential 50, he's number 1. There's nothing he doesn't do well. Nothing. And that to me is the short, because again, Saquon's not the most natural pass catcher. Tremendous runner, very good pass protector amongst his peers. If you just define it as who does their job description the best, there is no weakness to A.J. Brown's game. None. He's got great hands, runs great routes, out physicals people, is a great blocker, which you rarely see with top-tier receivers. There's no weakness to his game. He can play all three positions. He can play X, he can play X, he can play Z, he can play slot. He can run routes from all three.
Is he one of the best moves Howie Roseman's ever made? The trade for him?
He's one of the best players.
I know he was good when we traded for him, but John, he was not.
I didn't know he was this good. I knew he was good.
Nobody did. Nobody did. I knew he was good. He didn't. Not
because ironically, his career, like people don't recognize how good he is because he's not Jamar Chase when it comes to volume. He's not Justin Jefferson.
He played with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry.
He played with Derrick Henry and he played with Saquon Barkley. And part of the reasons, by the way, works in concert, ultimate team game, as Nick calls it. So they both help each other. But I did resonate, and sometimes players are self-deprecating, and everybody points to, AJ talking about how good Saquon was on the field, on camera. Off camera, Saquon has told me multiple times AJ is the best player on the Philadelphia Eagles. And by the way, everybody says that. So to me, it's not that big of a debate because I know how good he is, but I get it from other people's perspective and coming off Saquon's year. I don't think number 2 is disrespect. Certainly people took it as disrespect.
I don't think it's disrespect.
A.J. Brown, to me, is the best pure football player on the Philadelphia Eagles for the second consecutive year.
He is an amazing player. We're happy to have him in Philly. Probably the best receiver we've ever had.
I think so. And the best duo as well, ever with Devontae. And by the way, PFF graded him as number 1, which I was surprised.
I think that was a guy though, right? It wasn't like the actual grading.
Yeah, it was just 1. But still, I was surprised. Because generally people default to Chase or Jefferson because of the volume.
Well, I mean, the 2 years that AJ didn't play with Saquon or Derrick Henry, he had 1,500 yards, and he did it in an offense that wasn't high volume. It was higher volume, but it wasn't the level of volume.
Yeah, I mean,
that
you're preaching to the choir. I mean, I look, I would have nobody. They're all in the conversation, and as I always say, if you're in the conversation, that's good enough. I have no problem with. People in Cincinnati want to say Chase. People in Minnesota want to say Jefferson. Those guys are great. They are truly great. But AJ's every bit is great. And I think he's more well-rounded because Chase isn't going to – I saw Jefferson's worst game ever when Slay locked him down here in Philadelphia, and he got frustrated. And to be honest, and I've talked about this with Slay, they were allowing Slay to be physical. And, people say, well, he played like shit in that game. Well, 95% of the games, the officials aren't going to let the corner be that physical. So, right. And Slay's very self-deprecating. He's like, that dude's good. Talking about Jefferson. And they just let him be physical, and he took advantage of it. You try to be physical with A.J. Brown.
Not going to work.
You're not taking him out of the game. Even if they're allowing you to be, you're not taking him out of the game.
No.
Can Chase help and run, but which is nobody cares about it, but not going to help you.
John, I know you're not big on player comps, but I want to tap into your football knowledge here. Do you have a player in mind that AJ reminds you of? Again, I know comps kind of suck sometimes, but just to tap into, you've seen a lot of great football players. You got a lot of knowledge about the history of the game. Is there a player that AJ reminds you of? Would you make a fusion? He's got Calvin Johnson's size, but this guy's hands. Like, I don't know. How do you see that as compared to some of the best receivers that have ever played?
He's a tough one, but you go to the bigger receivers. I mean, his old
Obviously,
teammate,
right.
number one, would be DK Metcalf, but who's also playing now. But I think he does the little things better. And you bring up Calvin. Like Calvin.
A lot of TO comps in the chat, too.
Whoa. Much better hands than T.O. Much better hands. I mean, much. T.O. didn't have the greatest hands in the world. Big play guy, but a lot of drops. You don't see drops with A.J. Brown. Plus, you're not doing – to me, what sets A.J. apart is the stuff the dirty work that you don't see.
Exactly. Complete. He's a complete receiver.
Yeah. Very complete. So even if you talk about Calvin, like everybody, Jim Schwartz will rave for days on how good Calvin Johnson was. And he was. But did he block as well as A.J. Brown? I doubt it. And I'm not going to sit there and tell you. He certainly had the physicality to do it. But those are the guys, the big physical receivers. But his hands set himself apart. His blocking, his willingness to block. His route running, you see, he's the best slant receiver in football. He's the best go route receiver. When do you see that?
It's my biggest knock with the Eagles offense. You got A.J. freaking Brown. Throw him a damn slant. Come on, man.
I mean, usually like Jerry Rice is
guys be crazy when I watch the game sometimes. I'm scratching my fingers on the wall. I'm like, man, go slam A.J. Brown.
As we say, if you're winning, why change it? Don't broke what isn't fixed.
I get you.
But I mean, Jerry Rice may be the greatest slant receiver ever. There's so many highlights of Jerry just catching the ball at 7 yards and going the distance.
Yep.
He wasn't among the top go route runners. AJ is the best slant runner in football. He's the best go route runner in football. Best dig route runner in football because of his body.
Comeback route.
Just an amazing player. To me, it's not even a debate. Obviously, to others it will be. But yeah,
I think the only person you could argue could get one would be Lane, because I think Lane does everything well at right tackle too.
He does. He's similar in that he has.
That's why he's the only.
And that's
one
why I had him at number 2. I had AJ 1. I had Lane 2. I had Saquon 3. And Ed had Saquon 1, AJ 2, Jalen Carter 3, Lane 4. But I mean, that's good 4. That top 4. That's good. And that's tier 1.
Yeah.
And that's tier 1, and then it drops off a little bit from a points perspective. So the tier 1 and it's interesting because the defense was better than the offense, and the offense got 3 guys. That's how talented their offense is.
Yeah, and they're bringing 10 of those guys back. It's one of the big reasons that I think this team is going to be so good this year. That I think that offense is ripe for another big season, whether it's Saquon, whether it's AJ. I don't know. There's a conversation that's happened a lot like this summer about the passing game, obviously, because they were low in the passing game. Every time you bring it up, everybody gets mad at us in the chat. But people, like, when I say I want to see a better passing game, it has nothing to do with me wanting more out of Jalen Hurts. It has nothing to do with the passing numbers. I'm like, you got AJ fucking Brown. Use him. Get him the ball. That's my entire premise of why I want more passing, because you have AJ Brown, and I think it's a no-brainer when you have a guy that good. Get him the damn ball.
Yeah, I mean, it's that part of it's the Eagles are going to be a run-first team, and they should be, because of the offensive line, the quarterback, the running back.
Yeah, but get AJ the ball.
And that's another part of it, to have a receiver that gifted, and people still complain when he's reading a book or saying passing. And, sometimes he does that on himself. Some of it is
kind of funny. I mean, yeah.
Some of it's on himself, but overall, give me another receiver. People have called him, have used that word. He's a diva. He's the farthest thing from a diva. There's not another. You think Jamar Chase is here not complaining?
Jamar Chase would not make it here.
Anybody, any of the great receivers. You think Jefferson's happy? Whoever else you want to put up there. You think they're happy? And AJ, not that AJ doesn't want the ball. He clearly wants the ball, but he's uniquely fits very similar to Jalen Hurts as the quarterback of this team. He uniquely fits what the Eagles do because he's willing to accept it. And that dates back to his time in Tennessee with Derrick Henry, because he's used to playing in an offense with a great running back. And he understands, or better understands, not that he doesn't get frustrated, but I shudder to think, for people who dream, wow, I'd love to have that 1,600 triple crown Jamar Chase type numbers. He would not be happy here.
I think
he's not a great player. He's a great player, but he would not be happy.
You can be a run-first offense. I don't care. But get the ball to A.J. Brown when you're not running it, please. He can catch contested. He can catch over the middle. He can catch slants. He can catch go-round. I mean, there's nothing the guy can't do. You just got to get him the ball. I want him to get him the ball. I want A.J. Brown to have a big year this year. I think it's the best way for this team to evolve and get back to the Super Bowl is maximum involvement from who is your number one player on the football team, and I agree with you on it. Get the guy involved in the game. Every game.
Yeah. Phenomenal player. And Eagles fans should enjoy it. He's at a position that you will see the descent quicker than we talked about Lane Johnson. So, that's an athleticism position. So the minute you lose a step, it's going to affect you.
Yeah. How old is AJ now? 28?
28, yeah. So, enjoy it while it continues. But right now you're in the eye of the hurricane, because
he just turned 28.
He does not have a weakness as a player.
Do you think he'll finish his career as an Eagle? I know that's a tough one to answer, but
I think he wants to.
That's not what I asked.
Well, that depends on what I just said. I mean, how long does he want to play? Is he comfortable as a descending player? I would say no. My bet would be no, because that's a position where you generally want to get younger and keep repopulating.
Right.
And if he wants to play till he's 33, like Julio Jones, there's another guy you should bring up. Those are very similar players and very close, by the way. Julio in his prime, not when he was here, who's one of the greatest receivers ever, Julio Jones. Does he want to continue to play as long as Julio Jones? He's probably not going to be here. He's going to be like Julio. He's going to be being a bit piece on another team. So that sort of depends on AJ.
We'll see what ends up happening with that. Saquon Barkley comes in at number 2. A.J. Brown, number 1. Lane Johnson was number 3. John, that's the conclusion of the top 25 list that you and Eddie Kratz did. I like it. Pretty good list. Zach Bond at 11 is
egregious. That's egregious.
What's worse than egregious? Is there a word for worse than punishable by jail? That's awful. Zach Bond at 11.
I don't want to go that far. Ed did explain, and we'll get Ed on, but Ed's been on vacation and it's that time of year and yada, yada, yada. But he did explain to me off the air, he basically gave Vic a lot of credit. And I get that argument. I mean, he did nothing in New Orleans.
Yeah, so, in 1 year. I mean, right now it is a 1 year wonder. He does have to prove he can continue.
So was he schemed up? Probably part of it, but boy, he made a lot of plays. I don't think you scheme up that kind of production. If it were that easy, Vic would do it every year. And even his history of linebackers, which is tremendous, you don't have individual seasons as good as Zach Bond had last year. Very many, at least.
Yeah. Saquon Barkley came in at number 2, which was interesting. I think that's appropriate, though. I mean, I think it makes sense. But John, with coming off the season he had last year, touched the ball a lot. Offense obviously ran through him last year. I'm assuming you're expecting more of the same this year. How did the Eagles balance that with obviously you want to run them till the wheels fall off, but obviously you want them to be playing in January and February, hopefully February as well. What's that look like with Saquon Barkley this year? First year with Kevin Patullo as well as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think they'd like to limit his touches as much as possible, but I think that's off-season talk where you go into it with let's try to do it, and then you get into the games and you're trying to win the game, and if you need him, you're going to play him, and you're going to get.
And the games dictate exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's more of the personality of each individual game. But when they have the opportunity, they'll try to limit his touches as much as possible. However, for those thinking, well, you got to protect him for, the Eagles are thinking in 2-year increments with Saquon Barkley. And that's why they did what they did from a contract standpoint. They said, well, last year was great, so let's bump it up. Let's make it 2 years again.
Yeah.
And then they'll do it after this year. And if it's exceptional again, they'll bump it again. And they'll ride this sort of pony as long as they can. And they should with this offense. The offensive line is a big part of it as well, which Saquon will be the first to admit to. And as long as you have Lane and Landon and Cam Jurgens and Jordan Mailata, you're gonna lean on those guys as well. So I think it's going to be similar, and I still think a lot of teams, even though they saw it and watched it, they'll still go into games, and because I think the mentality is, well, people are going to go in to stop Saquon. I'm not so sure about that. Because I think the majority of teams in this league still believe what I say all the time, that you're doing us a favor if you're playing this way. We just got to figure out how to stop it better. But we would rather have you run the football that much and not have the big explosive plays to AJ and Devontae in Dallas. So I think more teams still will lean towards that mentality. And we'll see how it shakes out, but I think a lot of people don't understand that. And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong. And we'll see how it shakes out. And if if they play with that typical NFL mindset, and this is where Howie gets credit for zigging when everybody's zagging, they're still zagging. So I think Howie's going to keep zigging, or vice versa.
Yeah, I'm with you. We'll see what ends up happening, Johnny Mac, this season. It should be a good one. Feed 11, feed 26. Offense should be pretty good this year. Johnny Mac closing up the show. The top 25 list is complete, though. Outside of Zach Bond, what's the closest ranking that would be egregious in your eyes outside of Bond on this list? Is there any other ones that really upset you or not?
Not that really. That's I wasn't upset, believe me, but I thought it was unfair to Zach. Probably Landon.
Well, my only problem with Ed's thinking is you can apply the same thinking to Quinyon and Cooper, who were 1-year players.
Well, yeah. I
like both of these players.
Well, yeah, and Ed had both Cooper and Quinyon higher than I did, which is fine. They had great years, but I would say Landon. Landon's the other guy, because I had Landon 1, 2. I had Landon.
He came in at 8 on the list. Yeah,
I had him 6th on the list, and Ed had him out of the top 10, which I didn't think was fair for Landon Dickerson.
No, yeah,
that was the only.
Cooper's tough too.
Cooper was, I thought Cooper was a little bit high, but I had Cooper like 10th, I believe. So I still had him as a top 10 player, but ended up number 7. Yeah, and Quinyon, and maybe they'll be much higher. Like Jalen Carter. I mean, Jalen Carter's so gifted. And he turned into a second-team All-Pro in his second season. And I remember doing this list as a rookie. We had him at like 18, never played it down. That's how gifted he was. And I wrote at the time, I said, he's going to shoot up this list. as long as he, doesn't get in any off the field stuff, which is overblown. But, and yet, sure enough, he shot up the list, and he might be number one by next year.
We'll see how it goes. Johnny Mac, great show today, brother. A Tuesday edition wrapping up. We're officially 7 days out from the start, or from the Eagles reporting to training camp. 8 days out from them taking the football field.
A week away. A week away.
Yep.
All right, I got work to do.
Cheer up, John. You got a fun job, though. A lot of people would love to do what you do, cover the Eagles every single day. It's awesome what you do.
Yeah, well, I do. It is. It's better than 9 to 5. But
do you love your job? Like, do you love being a sports reporter?
Oh, that's a good question. We need another 2 hours.
Yeah, maybe we'll save that. We might have to save that for a Thursday or Friday this week, John.
Yeah. I need more time. We'll talk about that later. But
all right, cool. I'm excited for that conversation.
Yeah. There's some good, there's some bad. It's not as exciting as people think it is. There's a lot of there's a lot of waiting around and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Football practice, not as exciting, I always say, as people think it is.
Yeah, and once you get over the hump of everybody's like, oh, you're around the players all the time. That's cool. It's like once you do it for a living and you see them all the time, it doesn't become as cool.
I am not starstruck.
They're just human beings, what I mean? That play a game for a living. The humans are important. The games are not. My father always told me that when I was a kid. Yeah. Johnny Mac, great show today, brother. Appreciate you doing it. We'll talk to you on a Wednesday edition of Birds 365. Well done today, my friend.
All right. Thanks, all.
All right, thanks, Johnny Mac. Great stuff today from Johnny Mac. John McMullen. Follow him on X at JF McMullen. He was fired up today. We had a great show today. A lot of conversation with the great people of JAKIB Nation in the chat. Pretty good show, man. I enjoyed it today. Oh, Chris A.M., another one, man. Sorry, bro. Sorry I didn't get it to J-Mac. Love you all, JAKIB fam. Love J-Mac. Please let him know we respect and love him. Stay up, Eagles. Jesus Christ is God, and he loves you all so much. Stay up, squad. Go up high and hunt out the ones that know. God, I love it, Chris. Thank you, bro. Thank you, man. I appreciate the support today. 20 gifted memberships and a $20 super chat. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that very much. So, great show today. Chris A.M., I'd like to think you inspired some of that great show today. But Johnny Mac was fired up today. He really was. He was fired up today. So he was bashing He was roasting anybody that wanted to be roasted. So pretty hilarious. But great show today. Devin checking in. What's up, Devin? Didn't have time to comment, but great show today. Thank you, man. Thanks, everybody, man. We got a lot of 20 super chats today. So thank you all for all the super chats. Thank you, Chris A.M., for the gifted memberships. I appreciate each and every one of you for the support in here through the offseason. 1 week out, everybody. 1 week out. Eagles are reporting to camp, and it's from there through February. You know how it is. We're locking in, and we will be full coverage on JAKIB. We'll have plenty of extra content, and it should be good, man. I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to have the season start up. I am not, in the Johnny Mac camp of, oh, it's coming. I'm ready. I'm ready for it to come. I really am. So it should be a good one. A busy time for sure. Got a lot of things going too in the personal life. So, a lot of things going on, but I'm excited. It's an exciting time of life. It's an exciting time to be an Eagles fan. It's an exciting time to be alive. All right. In the beautiful earth that we live in. So good to see everybody in here. David, what's up, David? James Jones, good to see you back in here, James. Even though you like the shitty Commanders, we still love you, brother. Flying Mayan, John Secunda. What's up, my man? Appreciate you. B. Preston, thank you, brother. Yo, B, I'm working on some footage for the other channel. All right, so ZK's Garage, go and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. But I got some sick footage. So for those who know, I got the vet. I told you guys that, obviously. And my brother also got a vet. So let me see if I can. Oh, I can't show it. He got damn green screen. I'll show it. I'm gonna post it up though on the other channel. So check it out. Appreciate everybody being here today. All right, not much time for Xander time. I told you guys I'm down at my beautiful girlfriend's place, so I gotta, I'm a little loud when I'm on the show. My girlfriend always tells me, you're a lot louder than you think. I'm like, I know. My bad. My bad. Thanks, Preston. Appreciate it. Josh Prescott. That's pretty funny. Subscribed last night. Eagle fan. Bird Gang Girl. Thank you so much. Big Z, what year is your bros vet? 2025. It's a 2023, Tony. 2023. Hey, at least you're working. I'm always working, Dirty Air. I'm always working on something. I love working. I like work. I work all the time. I work morning, noon, night, weekends. I'm always doing something. Recording content. Something I love, all right? Something I love about my other channel right now. And I love doing this, don't get me wrong, but like I'm in an office behind my computer screen. And it's fine. It's cool. But I love being outside on camera. Like, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm telling you, if I had an editor, I would film so much content. The editor wouldn't know his head would be spinning. But I love being outside filming content. It's one of the reasons I love the parade so much, because we were out and about. We were out with the great people. So I have a lot of fun doing that. And I've been doing that on the other channel. So I'm going to be doing a lot more of that. I got a bunch of content in the queue on that channel. I was up at my brother's this weekend. We had a great weekend together. So I got my C8 a week ago. My brother picked his up on Saturday in the morning, and then we were driving our C8s together all weekend. I mean, it was so fun. It was so fun. I mean, two brothers driving the C8s. It's a dream, man. It's a dream. So no doubt. Appreciate all you do, Big Z. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Chris A.M. says, Xander, dog, you know when the lady commands, you already know. Nah, not me. My lady knows that I'm the boss, but I do love her and respect her, obviously. The show and chat was fire today. God bless all. Big Mike, thank you, sir. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I missed the first half, but both the Chargers and Herbert suck. That's pretty funny. Brad Fleming, hope you're doing good, brother. You see Vegas is adding Uno. I don't know what that is, man. Dan checks in. J-Mac is honest and correct, but he, like all of us fans, had Nick on a short leash in week 5 as well. Yeah, many did. Many did. Many did. All right, everybody. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Joe Whipp is challenging my bosshood. Joe Whipp, trust me. Maybe it changes one day, but it will not. I won't let it. It will be against my will, that's for sure. Be against my will, that's for sure. All right, I'm getting out of here. My internet's now not working that good. Am I cutting out or am I still good? Am I still good? It says I got low internet, but I can't really tell. I'm good on my side. I don't know if I'm good on yours. I appreciate all of you guys for being here, man. This has been a great off season. We've had a lot of great viewership in the off season, which is pretty awesome. So hit the like button for me on the way out. Did we get to the 100 likes? Kind of we're slacking. 84. Come on, 16 likes. Look at everybody telling me how to live. All right, Curtis. All right, Curtis. What, do you got a dictionary over there too for the explanation on everything? Good night, Curtis. You want to tell me how to judge Jalen Hurts? You want to tell me how to be good to my girl? Curtis. Come on, dog. B. Preston, we got room. Are you kidding me? Says you and your bro got room for a challenger. Let me join the ride. Absolutely. I love the challengers. All right, everybody. I appreciate you. I got to run. I just got a text. I got a call. I got to make. So appreciate y'all being here. All right. Curtis, that assumes I'm like the rest. That assumes I'm like the rest. I don't think so. At least I like to think I'm not. All right. I love all you guys, man. See you next time, everybody. On Birds 365, we should have a great show tomorrow. Probably have Mike Gill, BLG, back up here. And then we're going to get into some training camp talk. Done the list and everything now. We're going to talk about that, talk about the starters, reset everything on the camp battles. And how about that question of John? Do you like what you do? We'll do that again this week as well. So I think people would like that. Appreciate you listening. See you next time on Birds 365.
You've been listening to Birds 365.
the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate, inside the locker room, and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.